I'm an amateur radio operator and I suffer from bilateral speech frequency hearing loss. Hey everybody, Tim here. Gray Man Poda, amateur radio call sign November Whiskey 9 Foxtrot. So a few years ago, during the COVID pandemic, I attempted to learn Morse code online. Now I joined one of the online Morse code groups and got paired up in a class with an instructor and several other students. Now part of that we used a Zoom session where the class could practice sending and receiving the characters that we had learned from the previous week and then the new characters that we were learning for that week. Now during the session we would individually send code back and forth between each other, and then our instructor would send it to us. I had a problem understanding, hearing and distinguishing tone and then spacing between the dits and the das. To me, it just all sounded like noise. Also at the same time, I was finding that as I would go out and see people in person, because they were wearing masks, I was having an increasingly hard time understanding what they were saying, requiring me to ask them to repeat it a lot. So to step back in my story a little bit, when I was separating from the Navy, it was discovered through the hearing test that I had a bilateral hearing loss and also bilateral tinnitus. Now when I was in my 20s, this really didn't cause me much of an issue. As I got a little bit older, you know, like most people, the volume, the TV and the radio was getting louder and louder and louder. Now one of the things that I kind of realized or didn't realize was how dependent I had become in hearing and understanding people by watching their mouths move. And when people were wearing masks, I could not see that. And so I'm left to kind of fend to actually, hear what they're saying. It became hard for me. Now, the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders recently published some statistics about hearing, and here are a few of them that stood out to me. About 18% of adults aged 20 through 69 have speech frequency hearing loss in both ears from among those who report 5 or more years of exposure to very loud occupational noise, as compared to 5.5% of adults with speech frequency hearing loss in both ears who reported no occupational noise exposure. The other one is that about 2% of the adults between the ages of 45 and 54 have disabling hearing loss. That rate increases to 8.5% of adults between the ages of 55 and 64. Nearly 25% of adults between the ages of 65 and 74, and 50% of adults who are 75 years of age and older have some form of a disabling hearing loss. So between not being able to see people's mouths move and being able to distinguish between dits and das, I became very frustrated and quite frankly pissed off. It was embarrassing for me to sit there and not be able to hear. It made me feel stupid and inadequate in front of the other people. The problem that I had during the Zoom session was that I can control the side tone and adjust the pitch and the volume to something that was suitable for me. And over the air, you can zero beat with other stations to match their sending frequency, and then use your radio's RIT or clarifier function to adjust the pitch of the demodulated tone. But on Zoom, I had to take what I got. Now at the time, I didn't put a lot of analysis in it. I just knew that I was embarrassed and pissed off at my inadequacy. So I walked away from it. I quit. Now eventually I found my way to an audiologist and they prescribed hearing aids for me. Now from the vocal perspective, the hearing aids made my life 100% better. The digital processing is able to boost the specific frequency ranges that I have problems with, while filtering out the extraneous noise that interferes with hearing voices in the speech range. The human ear can process sounds from about 20 Hertz up to 20 kilohertz, but normal speech frequency falls between 250 Hertz and 6 kilohertz. This is the area that most people with hearing loss have the most issues, and unfortunately it's generally not detected in a standard hearing test. Standard hearing tests are gross hearing tests in nature and do not test for the fine hearing loss. Fine hearing loss is referred to as a hidden hearing loss and is something you should speak with an audiologist about if you find yourself having issues with hearing and understanding people that you talk with. Last month, I was watching Kyle, AA0Z's CW Operators Roundtable live stream, and he had Howard, Whiskey Bravo 2, Uniform Zulu Echo, and Mike, November 1, Charlie Charlie, from the Long Island CW Club as guests that night. While watching the live stream, I found myself on their website and was looking around, and then it smacked me in the face. They had a page dedicated to CW for the hearing impaired. But even better, I found a device. It was a visual and vibrational CW decoding device that they had developed that would give the user both a visual indication with LEDs, but also a vibrational indication of the tones so they could work around hearing obstacles that they might be experiencing. I reached out to the Long Island CW Club and they put me in touch with Bob, Whiskey Oscar Zero Whiskey. After some conversations with Bob, I decided to purchase one of these devices to attempt to learn Morse code. I just received mine in the mail. Let's head on over to the bench, open up the box, and see what we got. All right, so in the box here, we've got a couple devices that are wrapped up. I'm assuming that this is the device and there was some ancillary cables that come with it. Let's see what's in the other one here. So in here we have a, looks like a stereo, 3.5 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter stereo tip sleeve ring cable, and then the DC power supply. Okay, so here is the device set up. We've got three different cords that are coming into it. We have on the input of the source side, we have the basically speaker out of the radio coming into the device, and then next to it we have a cable coming out that goes to an external speaker, and then we've got the DC input with a power on, power off switch right here. There are four knobs down the front. The first one has to do with the intensity of the signal, I guess. So far I haven't hooked this up to a radio that's on the air yet, so I'm not sure if that is going to change, but my assumption is that weaker signals you might have to adjust that. The second knob is the basically the tone, the side tone, or the pitch of the demodulated tone from the signal that you're receiving. So right now I'm just using a radio that I've got out here in the garage with me, so I don't have an antenna that's hooked up to it. But this is where we change the frequency. So everybody has a different tone that they use. The radio that I've got with me today, it's a little bit older radio, and it actually is only got settings for, I think, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800 hertz. But as the tone comes in a different tone, or if you're using some kind of an offset in your radio for the demodulated tone to change the pitch of that, you can set that to whichever you want. So if we were to see this right now, and currently this is set to 800 hertz. So as we adjust, this knob will now see that we're picking up, it's dialed in for 800 hertz. And as you can see, the lights, the LEDs are flashing. And that's pretty quick and responsive. Definitely I can hear and now see the lights flash for both the dits and the DAWs fairly easily. So these next two knobs have to do with the haptic pad. Now, the first one here has to do with the frequency that it vibrates at, and it allows you to adjust it from a fairly high frequency down lower, and to find something that is comfortable for you. The next knob has to do with the intensity of that and how strong the vibration is. So I've got a microphone here. Hopefully it is picking this up. So between the four adjustments, you should be able to dial the tone in so you're only engaging the lights and the haptic pad at the side tone of the frequency, the pitch that you're looking for, and then being able to adjust the intensity and then the frequency of the haptic pad itself. In closing, I think this device is going to be a game changer for not only me, but there are many use cases out there where the device can be useful for a wide range of people with and without hearing loss. One that comes to mind is people with neurodevelopmental disorders. As a parent with a school-aged child with high-functioning autism, we are always looking for new ways to incorporate technology so our son can learn in a way that is most beneficial for him. This device takes sound and translates it into device and vibration, creating a triad of sensory modalities that can be beneficial for a wide range of users. Over the next couple months, I will be putting out videos showing this thing in action in my CW journey. I hope you join me for those. For more information on the Long Island CW Club and the vibrational CW decoding device, I will put links down below. Now don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you are notified when I release videos about this device. If you like this content, please hit the like button, share this content with your friends, and hopefully one day we'll not only catch you on the air, but we'll meet up in the CW portion of the band. But until then, I have a video right over here that I think you might be interested in.